Hi guys. So last year I made two consecutive videos titled What Does It Mean to Be a Woman and Accept People's Identities. And this whole issue, this whole debate about gender and sex and identity, of course, I'm not through with that yet. And it's been really, kind of flaring up for me again to find yet better definitions and find yet better, I don't know, arguments or reasoning that will help to clear some things up maybe in this whole debate. Or just to make my opinion or my take on it known. And as you might have heard or read or seen on YouTube or whatever, um, this guy called Matt Welch made a whole documentary about, dedicated to this question, what is a woman? And I really don't know much about this person. um, it- but from the little, yeah, bits and pieces of information, or I know, or rather, like bits and pieces of the movie and interviews I've seen, it seems pretty clear to me that he seems to be one of the many, um, I guess, traditional people, and especially men who identify as men, I guess, who somehow, for whatever reason, seem to think that it's like their job to find some kind of, universal definition or answer to the question, what is a woman, or I guess, what is a man also? And who also, and that's one of the things about this whole debate that kind of bother me so much, because it's just like, I think that's it's kind of primitive. It's this whole, I guess you could say, reductionist idea that they clearly want to go back, as I'd say, to this, I guess, more old fashioned understanding of, or definition of, a woman being a woman because of biological traits, right? I think the whole point those people, are trying to make is that the only definition we can work with as a society without everything, becoming too chaotic and unmanageable is this purely biology focused or oriented view of, okay, you are a woman if you have the right right chromosomes and hormones and organs, right? If you fulfill those criteria. So, because I guess it's kind of clear that this definition is just too limited, um, because, like, what would you say about a biological woman who had to have certain organs removed because of cancer, for example? Does that make her less of a woman? I guess I don't know what those people's answer to that would be, but I guess they'd probably also say no, and that's why I guess they also seem to include at least a little bit of stereotypes and cultural norms and I don't know, expectations into the equation, like a little bit on, you know, as like the cherry on top. But they clearly seem to think that the most important aspect of this term, this word woman, is bio the biology behind it. And it's just, I don't know, we can't go back to that anymore. It's not possible. Like, we are way beyond that point already, that point of this, this kind of normalcy and those traditional constructions of identity. And then again, I have to say that I really think that the only thing really that we can really take into consideration, to kind of fill this idea of being a woman up more with something that actually makes sense, are archetypes as opposed to stereotypes. The identification with certain archetypes that are associated with being feminine or being a woman. But even that, I have to say, for me, sometimes is closely linked to certain stereotypes also. And the it's all, you know I personally question if we really need any of those labels most of the time anyway, even the label being a man or a woman, um, which of course is this binary idea that doesn't really work anymore, and totally also just ignores the biological fact of there being intersexual persons, right? um, but yeah, what I wanted to say also is that in most contexts, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter if you there are really a very limited amount of circumstances or situations, I think, where it might be of importance to know what biological sex and or gender your the person you're talking to has. Like, I guess it's only relevant when it comes to, like, maybe something, some medical questions, and of course, like romance and partnership and sexuality. And well, this whole debate about sports, for example, like, should trans women be allowed to compete, against other biological women, or like real women? That's like already one of those areas where I'd say, is it really about if the person considers themselves to be a woman, or is it about something radically different, like they're different, that they are built differently, that they have other, maybe, other, that there should be other categories that we sort people into that make more sense in the context of, for example, a sports competition, like how they are built, how high are they, how much do they weigh, or whatever, which does not necessarily have to, you know, correlate one to one to whatever the standards for their gender are, or their sex are. Okay, so there's one more thing I have to add, of course, and that is when I said in most, situations it doesn't matter what gender and or sex the other person has. Of course, with that I don't mean that it is okay to, if they tell you that they have a certain gender identity, for example, that is very important to them, and like an integral part, they perceive to be an integral part of their being, then of course you respect them if they, for example, ask you to use certain pronouns on them, right? So when I say it doesn't really matter, I'm firstly talking about my perspective or my take on it, and also like more like, maybe what I mean is, it it shouldn't matter as much as it still seems to matter to a lot of people, though that's my personal opinion, and not someone I would not something I would push on somebody else, right? Because who am I to, that's like the whole point of the debate. Who am I to yeah, take that power of definition or that power of naming and exert it, exert it over the other person? Like, it's just a basic level of respect, I think, that if you see or know that the gender identity is very important to someone, that you respect that. Yeah, so those were just some of the many thoughts I have on this topic. And I hope I, didn't contradict myself, at least not too much or too often, because, yeah, to be honest, it's only been also like a couple of years for me that I really started to, yeah, think deeply about those things. And before that, I would also, be more mainstream about it, I guess. So, yeah, as always, feel free to let me know what you think about any of this in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. And till the next time, bye.